football.
Yeah.
Kind of fires me up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
me.
but yeah, I'm a big example, brother, of folks getting early detection saves lives.
Hmm.
Was diagnosed with prostate cancer about 5 years ago.
Hmm.
I've had the surgery and I've had the radiation, but now I'm doing fine. So I tell folks, go to the doctor, get your checkups. They can save your life, man.
It does, yeah. It's really important, Yeah, like I said, you're looking like we could see, first Royal Rumble winner back in the ring, Saudi Arabia Royal Rumble next year. The way you're looking.
I don't know. We're talking about going over to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That's one of the countries I haven't been to. That's one thing a lot of folks don't appreciate is the popularity of professional wrestling around the world. I tell folks I've wrestled in every state in the union, every province in Canada, in 30 different countries. It's unreal, the popularity of wrestling around the world.
Yeah. Are you on like a... I don't think you're on a Legends contract, are you, or anything with WWE at the minute?
I just recently re-signed with the WWE in January. I hadn't been on one in probably 15 years, but I finally, because actually I own my name. A lot of guys don't own their own name. Back in the WWF, if Vince McMahon created your name, like Big Boss Man or Brutus the Barber Beefcake, when you left that territory, you couldn't use that name. But myself and Macho Man, we trademarked our name years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I know there was some other company. I think like Hogan also used his name before WWE as well. So yeah. So yeah, you still keeping up with wrestling? Anything going on in the country?
No, not too much. They had us back for a Saturday night main event, and then they brought me in for the 10 beller for Hulkster, of course.
Yeah.
But I joke, after 40 years, the last thing I want to watch when I'm home is wrestling. So that'd be like a cop watching cops.
No, understandable. Like even my job is to watch wrestling, so like even when I've got to do it in my spare time, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it does get a little old, but it's been a great business for me, brother. So many people see the dark side of the ring and the stories about Scott Hall and Matt Bourne. It's been a great business for me. I've been with my wife for 41 years. I never had to go to rehab for booze or drugs. I put 2 daughters through college. At 72 years old, I travel the world signing autographs. I'm like, how bad of a business can it be? It's been a great business.
Yeah, you do hear about all these things, like all them people from that era that aren't here anymore. You're still kicking about, still, got your life going. It's all exciting for you still.
Yeah. Well, people try to compare us to a sports team. Our generation, Hogan, Macho Warrior, Jake, that generation, we were more like a rock and roll band. Every night you were in a different city, a different country, a lot of drugs, a lot of booze, a lot of women. It was a Wild West there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I joke, gosh, I miss the old days.
Some of the old days, it's good to still reminisce about it, but sometimes it does change for the better. Good to know.
Oh yeah, a lot of the kids nowadays. I think our generation was more creative. I think this generation is better athletes and more business-like.
Yeah.
But our generation, we came up with our own stuff, and I saw the transition of wrestling. I was working with WWF at high school gyms at National Guard Armories. Then I signed with WWE, and we're doing the Pontiac Silverdome in Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the transition of wrestling go from a small business to the worldwide, monster it is now.
Being part of that era of like watching it all go global.
Yeah,
is like,
that's the goal. Folks, remember that. You can still name 10 guys. Brett, Junkyard Dog, Jake. Hard to name 10 guys on today's roster. But
obviously I'm a bit younger for your generation, but even then I know like all the names. So standing the test of time.
Oh yeah, that was the golden age. I mean, it's amazing, and it's. And also, brother, I got to tell you, it's humbling. I just did an autograph session at Comic-Con, which I love. If you've never been to one, go to one.
Yeah, I've been
to
a few, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I was doing a Comic-Con, and there was a line of people I'm signing autographs, and this big, tough, rough-looking guy's in line, and he's working his way through, and finally gets up to me, grabs my hand, he shakes my hand, he squeezes my hand, he goes, "Hacksaw, Duggan." me and my dad used to watch. He started crying. I started crying. Everybody, it's humbling the way folks remember our wrestling. I mean, it was a family affair. You know, you always hear, "Don't step in front of Grandma when she's watching wrestling." You know,
yeah.
And people remember my generation, and it's humbling to have folks come up and stand in line and pay money to get an autograph. God bless them. And folks say, "Thank you, Hacksaw." And I said, "No, thank you. You've made a very comfortable life for me and my family. And without wrestling fans, without you people, it never would be possible, Paul. So thank you."
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, you went from, I think it was the 70s to 80s in WWE, and then moved on to everyone else. You came back towards the mid 2000s. And it's actually a good time.
I like to joke, you know, in the WWF, I wrestled Dusty, DiBiase, and Orton. In the WWE, I wrestled Dusty's kid, DiBiase's kid, and Orton's kid.
Yeah.
And at first, I beat up the old man, then I beat up the kid. Oh,
a timeless run. You know, it was actually something about that I did want to ask while I was on it. I don't know if you're like keeping up with like things on the internet, but there was recently a podcast I think that the Sandman did where he talked about you telling him in 2007 that you two were going to be tag team champions together. Do you remember this? Do you remember the plan for this? Or it was a very...
I don't know. I think Sandman might have been spoken something. I don't really. I had very little interaction with Sandman. I think he might be putting himself over, dropping.
Now you said it was you and him be tag team champions. I wanted to check while you're on, if that was a thing. Or not.
I don't see that. Me and Slaughter maybe, but not me.
And it was a very jarring pairing. So I was like, is that really? Is that true?
I don't see that, brother. He might have came up with that one night late at night.
Yeah. Yeah. I know obviously I've listened to like some of your old stuff you've said over the years, and you're like, like you said, you've been with your wife for 40. You don't really, you feel like you succeeded. Like who needs to be the champion if you're winning in life like the way you did. But
I'm not the marquee guy. Your marquee guy is Hogan, Macho, Kurt Hennig would be good. Obviously, The Rock. You got to know where you are on the totem pole. I've been playing, like I said, I've been playing the drums for 40 years, brother. Been around the world, made some good money. I live a comfortable life. And that's another thing. Everybody's like, that Vince McMahon. I just did a talk show not long ago. There's young kids like, that Vince McMahon, he treats us like pieces of meat. I'm like, well, son, what the hell you think you are? You want a friend, go buy a puppy. Welcome to the big leagues, man.
Yeah, especially with the road schedule back in those days as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a lifestyle more than a business. But like I said, it's been a great business for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't throw no stones, brother. I can't. I didn't do this drug. I didn't.
Yeah.
I did A to Z with the drugs. I drank a lot of whiskey. I got in a lot of fights.
Part of the course back in those days, though.
I used to carry a gun. Yeah. Back in the day was, when I was working Mid-South, you were working down in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and some of these towns, you better have a gun with you because people, I was a heel down there for a little while. People hated your guts. So it was a different business.
Yeah, it was very on fucking a lot of it. Crazy stuff, obviously you've heard the stories, you and
it's calmed down, obviously. We know what really calmed it down is cell phone cameras. That's calmed a lot of shit down, man. It sure did. But back, and plus the cops, they used to cut you slack. You get in a fight in the town, they'd be like, get out of here. Nowadays, they got the dash cameras, body cams, they can't cut you any slack because you're always a phony wrestler until you go to court.
Yeah.
When you go to court, you become a trained killer.
Yeah, or you're a phony wrestler until someone calls you a phony wrestler to your face.
The wrestling joke goes like this: 10, 20, 30,000. Every time you hit him, that lawsuit goes up.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about everything. Thanks for having me on.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, brother. Nice talking.
This is really my first time doing something like this. I'm sort of still like trying to find my feet in like this sort of like media game. So yeah.
Oh, well, good luck to you, man. Yeah, I enjoy coming to the UK. One of my favorite places. Jake was just over there, I think.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he did. I think that was a inside the ropes thing as well.
yeah. Those guys do a good job. They
They did,
treat
yeah,
you pretty
yeah,
good. Yeah, I brought my
yeah.
daughters with me too. So, and we were in London. They saw that Nightmare Before
Mm-hmm.
Christmas museum, and my other daughter had to go see Harry Potter there. We went down
Yeah,
to the train station. It's just a paint on the wall, right?
yeah. There's half a trolley hanging out of it.
Yeah, yeah. But we saw it anyway.
Yeah.